What if you could convince a historical figure to right one of their wrongs, which historical figure would you choose and why? And which wrong would you ask them to right and why?
I thought about this, long and hard. I didn't necessarily want to go political, but this was something that jumped out at me that I felt was kind of a catalyst for what we've been doing for the last 10 years. When Obama was president, he had a chance to put in another judge on the Supreme Court, and Mitch McConnell blocked him. He reveled in the fact that he could do that he could say, listen, you know what, you still have 11 months left in your presidency, but tradition states there are other things that have happened this way, and we are going to block anything that you bring up. It's just mind-boggling, the hypocrisy, and that just stands out. And it's it's something that I think you've lost the trust of American people. 2016 was kind of a turning point for America, and that's why I would have asked him to just listen. Let's play fair. If humanity were put on a trial by an advanced race of aliens, how would you defend humanity and argue for its continued existence? When we've got a race of people that have come to put us on trial, it's like, okay, well, if you've been watching us, how did you guys evolve? How did you get to the point where you could travel millennia through this galaxy? I mean, aren't you in the same place years and years and years ago that we are now? So, maybe cut us a little bit of a break. We learn from our mistakes, and then we go back and we have to relearn that mistake, 4 or 5 times. Maybe you'll be afraid that we will then start putting wars somewhere else. But until that time comes, we're still working it out.
Of course, right now, to finish this topic off will be Mr. Darsow making a case for The Wicked Witch of the West as the greatest movie villain of all time.
The Wicked Witch of the West came out in the Munchkin land, and every one of those Munchkins were scared to death. That was because she was the worst villain of all time. When she had Dorothy and little Toto up in the room, and they had the hourglass, and she sent, the message that they needed, she was in charge of making all this happen to terrorize Dorothy, the Tin Man, the Cowardly Lion. Every time you'd go to sleep at night, you'd see that Wicked Witch. And when she was riding her bike at the very beginning, when she took Toto and put her in the back of that little basket and went and talked to Dorothy's grandpa and grandma, you could tell she was the biggest villain of all time.
As Mr. Darsow will make a case for Herb Brooks as the most motivational sports coach of all time.
I played hockey for about 12, 13 years. And growing up, when I was like in 8th, 9th grade, I watched Herb Brooks coach the Minnesota Gophers. The most incredible coach ever. He ended up winning 175 games with the Gophers, 3 different titles. When I was in 10th grade in high school, he called me. He was recruiting me to play hockey for the Gophers, and I ended up signing for football instead, and Herb wasn't very excited about that. But anyways, later on, they asked him to be the coach for the Olympics in 1980, and a lot of people did not want him to be the coach. And during his training and everything, the players hated his guts. And by the time when the Olympics started, they became a team. And one of his lines was, "Great moments are born from great opportunities." He took that team that wasn't the best players, put them all together, groomed them together to be the best team in the world, and they ended up winning the Olympics.
So I'm going to start off with Mike. If you were sent back in time, it's a 2-parter. If you were sent back in time to commentate, either on location or in a studio, a historical event, which event would you choose to commentate and why? Which historical figure would you choose to commentate with you and why? And if you could pick any historical figure that would travel to present day 2025 and appear on screen with you as a play-by-play for a week, who would you select and why?
I'm going to go with, first in the 1800s, I picked the Gettysburg Address as my historical moment to go back and cover. And the person that I wanted to have cover it with me was Walter Cronkite. And I picked that for two reasons, because I think we're in kind of a similar time. And the Gettysburg Address is something that is really fascinating to me. And Abraham Lincoln is a very, very fascinating person. And I think he may be one of the most important people in our history. A guy who was fighting to save our country, save the unity of a country that wasn't even 100 years old at the time. He had just signed the Emancipation Proclamation 6 months earlier, and many view this battle as maybe the turning point of the war. And Abraham Lincoln is a very, very fascinating person, and I think he may be one of the most important people in our history. And here he was called in to consecrate this battlefield, and it is one of the most famous speeches in our country's history. And it really was meant to unify the country, and it really built on the Emancipation Proclamation. And a reason why I chose Walter Cronkite, he saw this country in the 1960s, and you witnessed a lot of this through civil rights, through a very turbulent time. And I think that he was a guy that the people in this country really turned to really get the news and to understand what was happening in our country. In all of that, he brought the Vietnam War to people's homes through television. Fast forward, I'm a great admirer of Winston Churchill. And I would love to have Winston Churchill accompany me to Donald Trump's inauguration. He was called by his country when nobody wanted that position. And I think it would be fascinating to get his take on what Trump is going through right now.
Have you ever observed something in your life and made a difference without taking action?
You know, my recovery from alcohol and my walk with Jesus Christ have gone pretty much hand in hand. You know, what I'm doing now and working in the recovery community and getting out and telling my story as much as I can and being transparent, that I really feel like Christ is working through me. It's almost like I'm not doing the action, he's taking action through me. I want to help. I want to continue the conversation about mental health in this country, about addiction, about alcoholism, about suicide, about all the issues that people face in the world.
Robert, if you could pick one moment in your career that could inspire a deceased historical figure during a downtime in their life, which career moment of yours would you select and why? Which deceased historical figure would you be hoping to inspire and why?
If I had to pick one moment, I was doing a theater, and it was dress rehearsal, and I was doing this big speech in front of my dead father. The director yells at me from the top row in the balcony, goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm talking to my dad. What do you think I'm doing?" And he's in heaven. You talk to him up there. And the minute I did this whole thing just sort of washed through me in it. And I realized, look to the heavens, man. Always look to the heavens and listen. The historical figure that I would choose to speak with, but since a historical figure, I'm going to go with George Washington, because he was always my hero. I was a kid growing up in West Virginia in the hills, and it always amazed me that he surveyed this land that I was living on. We're free to talk about what we like to talk about because of George Washington. He was facing a machine, the world's greatest army, and they couldn't make him quit, even though he was losing engagement after engagement. So that's who I would want to hang out with. I don't know how I would be able to inspire him, but I would just say, never quit, look to the heavens.
You name 3 things that we can do to measure the productivity of a society.
The first thing, the most important thing, is the birth rate. We have to, Hungary and Romania right now are paying their citizens to have children. This is a problem throughout the world, as women have gone to work instead of being homemakers and raising children. The second thing we can do, our giving. The Americans are very giving people. We send money all over the world, and we really help people who get in trouble here at home. Just go look at a GoFundMe, for instance. I mean, people get into trouble, and next thing you know, there's $350,000 in an account from strangers. And so we need to be able to make people care, but at the end of the day, you still have to just take care of business, give as you have been blessed.